Hey guys, good afternoon. It's November 1st. Sorry I'm getting to you a little bit late today with my, excuse me, with my video for the day. But and I may end up cutting this short. I'm at my son's bus stop waiting for him to, I just had a funny moment with my daughter here in the car. But anyway, so just want to touch base with you guys, kind of give you some updates on me and the book and where we're at, and then also from there, share with you a couple of stories and messages that I thought were, worth thinking about as we talk about pointing the thumb. So there's a couple of kids across the street with a giant bag of Halloween candy they're divvying up right now. That is crazy. So if you hear background noise, that's what that'll be. Anyway, so as far as I go and where we're at, it was a good day today, getting a lot of things organized. I really did underestimate how much needed to get organized, just in terms of getting back on my feet and getting things squared up at home, and the book and work and bills, and really been quite a bit. So no big deal there. We're progressing really well with that. Got a schedule set up and all sorts of good stuff. But I was on WJL News last night. I don't think we were able to post it to the site. I hadn't heard back from my dad Toby yet today. Hopefully we can. It was a pretty good interview, I thought. Finally, I wasn't in a yellow shirt, but that part was done there. So, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, we just got a text that threw me off a little bit. So, a couple of things that came up today. Well, first, let me share a quick story about my daughter here. So we're talking, and she's doing some homework in the back of the car, and I just asked her about, I guess she moved up to the middle school this year, and boys are becoming something of an issue with them approaching her, so I asked her about it. She proceeded to tell me about 3 boys that have been talking to her, but one was really douchey, so I wasn't prepared to hear that from my daughter. But anyway, so I got to find that out. But a couple of stories today that I thought were worth talking about, and as we talk about continuing to point the thumb message, and just you can take stories and infer things from them, and there's also some tragedy that goes on with it sometimes, maybe not tragedy. So actually there's 3 things to talk about. The first, and probably the simplest one, is there was a nice report that earlier this year, well anyway, a CNN reporter was out covering a political conference, and some gentleman went up to him and apologized to him, and the reporter didn't even know what he was receiving an apology for. And the gentleman explained earlier in the year at one of the whatever you want to call them, fundraisers or whatever it is, he gave him the finger and flipped him the bird, and he regretted it. And he said if I ever got a chance to see him again, I'd apologize to him. But it just goes to show that sometimes in the heat of the moment, things can happen. People can say that if you want to show attrition, you can. So I thought that was kind of just a neat story, especially in terms of the politically divisiveness that's kind of going on. But a couple of more real serious topics. Tragedy in Indiana, a town not far from where I walked through. I walked through week 3, New Haven and Fort Wayne on my way up to a couple of towns in central Indiana. And after you guys have heard the story, it's pretty tragic. And I don't know all the details, but essentially a bus had stopped, and crossing the street were two twin 6-year-olds and their 9-year-old, and I think another child crossing the street, and a 24-year-old girl. Don't know what she was thinking or what she was doing. And I don't think there's anything malicious about it, but she went around the bus or came up. I shouldn't say went around the bus. She with the buses had their arm out in their stop, basically ignored that and plowed through and took out these 4 kids. 3 of them perished, all siblings. And from what I understand of the story, the 9-year-old kind of saw her coming and kind of jumped and tried to get the twins out of the way. And I mean, just think about that. But so certainly my heartfelt condolences out to the family. But again, I've talked so many times in this journey about, one of the reasons I even took the journey was we're not granted tomorrow. You're just not, guys. You're not granted tomorrow. So I mean, these 3 kids are just going off to another day of school. Their parents didn't have any second thought about it, and this young lady didn't wake up that day and go, you know what, I'm going to just change everybody's lives, including her own, and just it's that quick in our lives, how quickly things can just change. And so tonight, if you listen to this tonight or tomorrow, whenever, as you sit down with your family for dinner, as you do anything, just appreciate what you've got, appreciate who you have with you. Honestly, it's life is just too short, and it's not something to take for granted. And on behalf of myself, and I'm sure the PTT family, my heartfelt condolences out to I can't even begin to think what any of those people are feeling, even including the person that created the accident. It's just something that's one of those unfathomable things. So there's that one to talk about and think about and give some thought to. Another one that really is surprising, but there's a whole backstory to it. If you know, I may get the name wrong, but there's a young lady, I want to say her name is Kathy Hanida, and I'm a big sports fan, and she gained a little bit of fame because in, I want to say, the late 90s, early 2000s, she dressed as a place kicker for the University of Colorado football team, and she would hope to get in the game, never did with Colorado, and eventually transferred out to New Mexico. Now, the good part of the story is that New Mexico treated her really well, and in fact she became the first woman to ever score a point in the NCAA college football program. So that's kind of something that's pretty neat that a woman felt, and my daughter, when hearing the story about that part, was very proud of her in the back, and very liberated as a young lady, and go for her. But some things, if you know the story, in the mid-2000s, she had come out and admitted that when she was at the University of Colorado, she had been harassed and bullied and sexually harassed and even raped by one of the football players. I don't know that to be the case. I know this is her claims. I have no reason to think she'd been making them up. She didn't go to anybody because if you knew the school back then, much like some of the stuff that's going on at the University of Maryland right now, the college football coach was ran definitely, football drove the Bucks, and basically he had told her, I believe her quote was that he said, nobody wants you on the team, nobody likes you here. And so she felt if she went and said something, she'd just be thrown off the team. So she people wonder why people stay quiet for years about sexual harassment or rape or assault. So this young lady went through that in the mid-2000s. Well, apparently, as the story goes, what I know of it, is she went to the doctor and received some antibiotics. And sometimes antibiotics have an adverse reaction on you. Sometimes they cause a rash. Well, hers didn't cause a rash. Hers kept her blood from clotting. And when they took her in for testing to see about her blood from clotting, they found out that her liver, kidneys, and bone marrow was failing. And now she's already on daily dialysis. I think she's on the transplant list or will be soon. And essentially, she's in critical condition over an antibiotic. So again, guys, we talk about, just the news in the world is just crazy to think that, here's this young lady that regardless of her backstory, went in for take antibiotics, and it messed up her system to the point that now she's dealing with life endangering issues. In addition to that, they have a GoFundMe page set up for her because she's already amassed like $150,000 in medical bills, and she can't go back to work. The doctor said if she gets through this for like 6 months, I don't know her situation with health insurance and all that stuff. That's not my business, or do I know? But it's just kind of a crazy story, and actually would not take anything for granted ever. My son's coming up the bus right now. I'll give you a quick view. So I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Have yourselves a great day and a great night. I love you. Don't take life for granted, guys. Please don't. Point the phone when you can, and make. Good job, buddy. All right. I love you guys. Take care now.